Hey, lovely people. How are you? I'm turning up my volume. Hopefully, you can hear me. So, I just wanted to have a little chit chat today because I stumbled across this article and it's basically titled, let me see, let me scroll to the top. The title is Remote Workers Report Negative Mental Health Impacts, New Study Finds. And just to open up a little bit, I had noticed in my area there have been more instances of people taking their life. So it's really made me think about more so, mental health. What are some things that are driving it? Of course, there's a lot going on. Everybody's case is different. Life is not easy by any means for most people. However, I want to talk about, just have a conversation about just the idea of remote work. I also want to talk about virtual reality and the work that's trying to be pushed there, where we'll be working in a virtual space with a headset on, like we're in the office. It's just a lot of different innovative things that are supposed to be coming to play. So, one section of this report, it says nearly two-thirds of people working from home feel isolated or lonely at least sometimes, and 17% do all the time. That's tough to be feeling lonely and isolated all the time for that 17%. More than two-thirds of employees who work from home at least part of the time report they have trouble getting away from work at the end of the day. Always. This is 22%. Sometimes they have trouble getting away from work at the end of the day, 45%. So even though you don't have that commute, and we'll talk about some of the plus factors of working remote and some of the negatives, but they're having a hard time getting away from work. Younger adults, 73% of 18 to 29-year-olds and 73% of 30 to 44-year-olds were more likely to report feeling isolated or lonely working at home compared to older adults, 48% of 45 to 64-year-olds. So that's the article that I saw. And there was a couple other articles that are talking about remote work and just the effects. Now, the benefits. Let me know the benefits. Let me know what you think are the benefits. I have a couple of notes that I jotted down from the article, but let me know what you think the benefits of remote work are, and then we'll talk about the negatives. Hello, Conjure. Shout out to you. Thank you for being here. Your puppy is so sweet. I see your puppy all the time. He just seems like the sweetest, chill type. That's my type of dog right there. Hey, Edward. Shout out to Edward, my member and moderator for today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for greeting everyone in the chat. Hi, Jay Rena. It's been a while. How are you? Hopefully things are going well. Edward is greeting everyone. I love work from home. Okay, so Jay Rena, I have a question for you, and this is going to be a little chit chat. I don't know if I'll leave this video up or I'll take it down later. Do you 100% love working remotely, or is there anything that you don't like about working remotely? That's my question, because I work 100% remotely, and I've done so since 2019. And before that, I would mainly go into the office and then work remotely as I needed to. I have a few cons that I'll talk about, but let me know what you think. Wipe Down TV, hello, welcome. It looks like Shar has come into the chat. Welcome, Shar. How are you? And thank you so much, Shar, for my birthday gift. I appreciate you. Just got to shout you out. Let me see. Spiky. Hello, Spiky. I wish I had a work from home job. Okay, so Spiky says he wishes he had a work from home job. What about working from home would make your life better? Is my question for you. I would love to hear that. Shar says gas, transportation, time, lunch, price. Okay, so this is why Shar likes working from home. Gas, saving on gas, I'm assuming transportation, her time saving, and lunch price. I get that. I get that because yes, when you're in the office, I notice this a ton. I can cook at home, I can eat at home, or I can just go grab lunch, but I can choose where I want to go. I don't have to just choose from, okay, what's nearby me. And sometimes the places that are nearby your job, it's like, luckily I've been in some really good locations where there were restaurants to choose from, but I know people that have worked and I've interviewed at some places that were like out somewhere and the only thing they had near them was like a Denny's or a McDonald's, and it's like that's not what you want to eat. So either you do that or you go plan around your lunch and go somewhere else. Just too much. But or it's higher priced food in your area. I get that. So you can just eat at home and save some money. Uh, Sharky, welcome. How are you? It's been a minute. I'm really it's really nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. I felt like the last time we talked, you were thinking about creating a channel. Let me know if you did that. Hello, Jesse, Canine Scent Detection Training. Whoa, hello. Hello. Thank you for all being here. Please do hit the like button. Thank you, Edward. Tech for your needs. Hello. Welcome. I'm trying to shout out everybody in here. So Specky says, well, I can save money. So it sounds like that's the common denominator here, right? We can save some money by working from home. I like to be home anyways. Okay, so you're kind of a homebody. You like to enjoy your time at home. I get that. Are there any negatives from work from home? Anything at all that you can think of? I'm going to talk about a few. Jay Renna says, I love working from home. A dream come true for me, being disabled and not driving anymore. So it works in my favor. We talked a while back. Yes, I understand that. I'm not a disabled person. Not that I know of, at least no physical, disablement, but I know that comes in many forms. But I remember during the pandemic, listening to these conversations with people that were able to find jobs now, like during that time, because of the remote work, because they couldn't, due to their whatever scenario was, they weren't able to physically go in the office. And so they were able to find work, and it was a 100% life-changing thing for them. So I totally am happy that you're able to work remotely and are able to find something that matches with your life. I love that. Okay, a con. Okay, those with authority avoid responsibilities and are brave at lying to you. But is that just for working from home? I feel like that's going to happen either way. Like if a person is a bad person, they're going to be a bad person either way. Bad leadership, that sort of thing. It may be just a little easier to get by with doing certain things when you're working from home, maybe. I'm trying to understand more where you're coming from, Shar, but yeah, I don't know if I see that as just a work from home thing. Tell me more about that. I probably just need more context. Tech for your needs says you can bring your own lunch and save money. So we're getting back to the saving money. I know, right? Gas prices are up there. Like I just got gas today. This morning, I didn't even look. I'm just like, I don't want to look. Just no. And I have a smaller car, but it's just like, I feel like I'm filling up more and more because it's summertime. There's more to do. And yeah, I don't even want to look. I know it's bad. Let's see. Good, thanks for okay. So Sharky is saying the channel is up and running. Hey, I published my intro video. Congratulations, Sharky. Congratulations to you. Working from home didn't work for me. I had to go into an office because you're in security, probably. Facilities, security, like there's certain functions that were not going to be feasible for work from home. Totally get that. I totally get that. Okay, I want to go back to some comments here in a second, but the good that I have is the comfort. You can work in your own lane. Like if you want to sit on a couch, if you want to kick your feet up and work, if you want to switch your locations, like you want to work in your kitchen one day, you want to work in another location, you want to go to a coffee shop one day, you can do that because you're a remote worker. So obviously there's security concerns. Sometimes if you're going to a coffee shop, you have to, maybe use your own network or whatever, but there's a little more flexibility. If you want to work outside, you want to work in your patio, you can do that. Whereas in the office, if you actually have an office, like for me, my first job, I was in this office that didn't have a window, and it was just not good for my mental health. Actually, that was not good for my mental health because I didn't have any sunlight. And so there were hours at a time where I am just in this room, and it kind of feels like, I shouldn't say it, but at the time it definitely felt like a cell. Like I didn't see any light for hours at a time unless I went outside. So I would have to take breaks, of course. But yeah, I kept wondering what was the deal. And when I switched from that office to an office with lighting where I could see like with windows and everything, there was a total change to my mental health. And so with working from home, you can control that environment. Like a lot of us, we can't really control and say, well, I don't want this office. I want that one down there. Or actually, I don't want to work in the office. I just want to work outside every day. Or I want to sit on that couch over there and work. Like sometimes you're not, it looks a little weird. You have to deal with the politics of work. So you don't have that aspect. No politics at work that you have to deal with, like the little microaggressions that are like in your face. You may have them, and I think about this more since I'm a Black woman, but you may see them, they may happen, but they're not like bam in your face all the time, right? You're working from home, so you're in your own environment. That's another pro for me. No commute. A couple of you said it. Shar said it, I know. No commuting. You save money. That is a big plus. You save your time. You don't have to be like in New York, you're going to be taking the subway. In Chicago, you may be taking the subway. In Texas, you're driving. In Missouri, you're driving, right? Florida, you're driving. So you're spending less time in your car. You could be doing other things, especially driving. When you're taking public transportation, if you're in a city that has good public transportation, like I don't know about Chicago if it's good, but I know everyone uses it. New York, London, it's fine. You can do an audio book. You can read a book. Some people do work, do their emails while they're on the train. Different things you can do. But when you're driving, that's probably the worst because you're like in traffic, you're fighting traffic. It's just like a stressful experience from my standpoint of just driving and getting through. And by the time you get to work, you're like, depending on how your commute was. If you had a really rough commute, you're already tensed. And then you go into the office, someone says something crazy to you, you're already up here and it's just a bad scenario versus you're working from home, you don't have that commute. You can do things with your time during that morning and get into work. You can start earlier. It's just a lot of flexibility, right? And then a lot of studies have found, in a few of the articles I read, high productivity. That is a good thing, obviously, for you, but also for the company. So it's like, you guys know, I try to keep a balanced view. So had to throw one in there for the company too. All right, let me look into this comments and we're going to talk about the bad side, the bad of remote work. And some I agree with, some I don't agree with. So Spiky has said, my mom works from home. The people in her building play loud music. She can't focus sometimes. Ooh, we got to add that to the bad side. We have to add that. I didn't think about that, Spiky. Yeah, because you can have distractions at home. I got to add in music. And then I also have to add in, I don't have children, but I have joined meetings upon meeting where someone has children. Like this past Friday, some kids were like out of school, whatever, or they were out of daycare, whatever. And one of my team members had their child, and you could tell they were really thrown off because their child was like in the background doing things, and they just came on screen, and they were like, they wanted that attention, which I totally understand. And I'm just chilling. I'm like, hey, I get it. I know. I know. Do what you got to do. But that is definitely a distraction. So we'll jump into the bad side. Thank you for bringing that up. Because, yeah, if you have an environment where when I was working in New York, I had a neighbor that did music. And so, yes, you have, especially in New York, You're going to have neighbors that are doing more artsy professions, right? Just because of that environment. So yes, I totally agree with that. Tech for your needs saying one negative is you have children and don't have anyone to take care of them that makes your job hard working from home. Yes, definitely yes. That is a good point. And other people that even me not having children, I recognize the frustrations that people have with trying to balance work and their children at home, and that's a whole nother ordeal. So for them, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this working remotely thing. I need to be in the office. I need to get away from the children. No offense to the children. Love the children. But like, I need to get away from them, right? I need some adult time. I need to speak with adult people. Yes, I get that. A con from Jay Renna says, keeping motivated. You must be a disciplined person. I agree. I'm going to write that one down too because I didn't have that one. Staying disciplined. Oh my gosh. Yes. And this is twofold, right? So staying disciplined in the fact of having your work hours and your personal life. Otherwise, they can merge. And so a lot of the people that were saying they had a hard time getting away from work at the end of the day, they probably have that mentality of just go, go, go. All of the work needs to be done ASAP. All of it has to be done today versus prioritizing, okay, what do I need to get done this week? If, it hits 5:30, 6 o'clock, overtime, whatever that time frame is for you, that's like, okay, you've been here a little too long or you've been working a little too long. It's getting into 11 hours of work, 12 hours of work. They may just keep going versus people that have a really nice balance. On the other end, people with a lot of personal stuff going on at home, maybe they will get distracted easier at home versus if they're in an office, they can stay disciplined and focus at work. Totally good point. Char says Zoom chat or cancel, reschedule so you never get to address the problem. I had this one on the list. Zoom meetings, just the digitalization of it all. Yes. Definitely. Hello, Gwen. Welcome in. We're talking about remote working and the downside of it, especially when it comes to mental health. That's what we're talking about. That's the conversation. Smart Aviation, welcome. Please do check out Smart Aviation. Check out Sabuana in Florida. Check out Gwen. Gwen is a member, so I need to shout her out. Just a minute. Gwen actually provides a lot of content around women, missing women and girls. So her work is just so important. So whenever I think of it, I like to shout out her because I don't normally see a lot of the information. I will say that, but Gwen keeps us posted about that type of information. So thank you for being here, Gwen. And Sabuana does a lot of travel. She's always supporting in here. A lot of travel. If you're interested in Asia and travel there, and if you're interested in Florida and that type of travel, you might want to check out Sabuana. All right. Jay Renna says, pro, I love being able to choose my schedule, hours and days to work. Also the ability to work for more than one company at a time. Okay, so we're going to just say that doesn't happen because companies don't like hearing that. But yes, there were a lot of people that have been working 2 jobs at once, full-time, working from home. The schedule thing for me, I've always worked, lately, I've been working with companies that are in a different time zone. So for me, one benefit to working in an office is that I would not need to deal with as many time zone issues because a lot more of my people will be on the same time zone. So for me, it's kind of like, that's not really a bonus, but for you, depending on what type of job you have, that can definitely be a bonus if you can plan out your schedule. Like, hey, I'm going to work from this time to this time, or tomorrow I'm going to work from this time to that time, as long as this work, gets done. For me as a recruiter, I have to be cognizant of other people's schedules for meetings. And then also with phone conversations, I am pretty much, kind of built into a specific time. I will say one plus is that with people I'm trying to connect with, I have the benefit because I'm an hour behind everyone else in the location I'm recruiting for. I'm recruiting for folks on the East Coast. So I get to, take later calls than others. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sabuana, for the super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate your support. I love it. Thank you. All right. So Edward is greeting people. Seva, the technician in NYC, people like to practice the bongos, abs, river dancing. What? I don't even know what that is. Y'all tell me more about that. Life with GCB Gwen says, I enjoy saving gas money and all that, but I miss the interaction with coworkers. Yes. And that's what they were alluding to with the loneliness, the downside of the working remotely. People are feeling lonely. They're not having that interaction with people. Definitely get that. Sharky is saying discipline is absolutely key when working from home. The temptation to over multitask or goof off social media, etc., is strong when you're not physically at a job site being monitored. It depends on the type of person. So I suppose you have to recognize what type of person you are. Sharky, I think that's exactly the right point, because some people are going to overdo it with work and then other people are going to goof off more. So it definitely just depends on the type of person you are, for sure. Let's see. Okay, so let's get into the list. So what I said was the bad from the article and then also from my own thoughts. From the article and my own thoughts, feeling of isolation, blurring work and home from the article, digital fatigue is what I put. And this comes from just the meetings that we have. Everyone is just Zoomed and Microsoft Teams and whatever. Insert video platform here. We're just we're like over it. Like if I have to look at another screen. And I saw an article that was talking about the fact that when we are doing the video conferences, like what I'm doing now, I'm not seeing another person. I can see myself only. But with Zoom and some other platforms, you do get to see other people, but you also see yourself looking back at you. So it's maybe if they changed it to where you're not looking at yourself, because a lot of people are going to look at themselves. And so it's different. You're not getting as much of the FaceTime with people. You're using a lot of nonverbal cues. You just can't pick up as much when you're in a video platform. Even though we love video, shout out YouTube and all that. However, it's just impersonal. We like to, as humans, most of us want to connect. We want to see each other, want to be face to face. We want to be like all up in your like, not really, but like, kind of like in your face, right? We want to see you smile, we want to see your eye contact, we want to see all of that. We want to be up in your space. Most people. I know some people have a problem with that, and that's why they love working remotely. Other people miss that. They want people. They want to see people. They want to be in their space. That's what they want. They miss it. So I get the disdain for the video platforms. Sharp brought up a good point about people just like canceling meetings more so because it's super easy, right? There's not as much pressure to join meetings. Now, for me, company where I'm at, I think people take meetings more seriously, right? It's not like we're just going to schedule a meeting here and there. We're just going to lollygag during the meeting, and we're just setting up a meeting just for the sake of setting up a meeting. Where I'm at currently is definitely not like that. Actually, there's only one place I worked at, and this was a while back, like years ago, where it was kind of like you have all these meetings and you're just like, why? Why am I here? What? I am not even contributing to this meeting. Why am I here? And that was actually when being in office was more commonplace versus remote work. So there's that. Hello, Rebecca Powers. Welcome in. How are you doing? We're talking about remote work. What do we like about it? What do we not like about it? We're talking about the bad of remote working right now. So the other bad of remote working is, they say in the article, apps and programs we just have too much of it. We have to shift back and forth between the apps and programs. And actually, someone I work with now had just told me that they wish they were in the office, because when it comes to training, you have to shift from this platform, you got to show this screen, it's just a lot of flipping back and forth. And so if you're not used to that, it can be overwhelming. So some people are just overwhelmed by all of that stuff, and they'd rather just be in the office and have trainings in a different way. Like, and I have been a trainer. I totally get it. Some people don't do well with virtual training. We have to adjust to certain people's ways of learning. We need to have actual sessions where we can actually act on what we've learned. We have to be able to do audio. We have to visually see things. We actually have to do practical learning as well. So I totally get that. The last thing is the distractions. The kid is running over there. I can't concentrate. What are you saying? I have no idea what you just said because my kid is literally screaming in the background. Like, this is what people are dealing with. I feel for them. But that type of stuff. Or like, I think it was maybe, was it Spiky that said the music, people doing other things you can't control, neighbors, right? If there's a neighbor jumping up and down day in and day out, I'm going to have trouble concentrating. But the good thing with that is you're, depending on what type of job you have, the security that you have set up, you can go somewhere else and work likely. So yeah, but that's huge. That's I can only imagine. Luckily, I don't have that issue, but I have seen the issue being on the other end of someone dealing with it, and I can see them being flustered and everything else. Let's see. Staying social was the other thing I wrote. So some people, especially if you're introverted, work was how you met people, how you met friends, especially when you're older. Like you don't have school anymore. You are meeting people likely at work, or if you're going to different social functions. But a lot of us aren't going to that many social functions, especially last year we weren't doing that much, some of us. And so what about the people that are introverted and who basically met more friends and their people, and they have that social connection just by going to work? Like, what about them? Well, that's going to be a con for them because now they're working from home. And I would kind of put myself in this boat, even though I've been able to meet people since I've come to Dallas, just by going out a little bit and using some online platforms too, to connect, and then just connecting outside of that. But yeah, it can be difficult because, at the end of the day, after you're done with work, sometimes you don't have energy. Sometimes you're like, okay, I just want to sit on the couch and watch Netflix now. But, you have to make that effort to get out there. So that's what I'm going to say about that. And then shout out again. Thank you, Savannah. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for your support. Please do check out Savannah. If you're traveling Florida, even though I traveled to Florida for my birthday, it's a beautiful place, and she captures a lot well of that state. Jay Renna says the independent contractor IBO type of, oh, you're good. You are set. You're all good. I think that's great. Tech for your needs. Tech support when your software or computer goes down is negative because you're not in the office. That's true. Okay. That is true. That is so true. Because, yeah, I feel like things were a little bit quicker sometimes with tech support, but it depends on your tech staff. The great thing about the IT support is they can remote into your computer and normally fix anything that's going on. Most companies also lease their computers versus owning them. So they're switching them out every couple of years, like 2-3 years, maybe at most. So they typically won't have a ton of problems with them unless you as the employee are literally breaking your computer. Like, you're not shutting down your computer ever. You're like just adding stupid programs on your PC that aren't compliant. You are, I don't know, just doing things to run your computer into the ground on a consistent basis. You're likely not going to have extreme computer issues where the hardware is broken. I actually did have an issue with hardware. I love my team. When I worked at Nestle Purina, they were really sweet. I actually accidentally spilled water on my computer. I know, y'all. Oops. Was it water or was it tea? I want to say it was water. It might have been tea. Anyway, I had to get a new computer sent to me, and they did send it. So I was like, oh my gosh, I was freaking out. And they were like, no, that's cool. It happens, da da da. And then I ended up buying this thing. I'm going to take it off of my PC. For my own computer, I bought this thing just in case, so it could save my keyboard if I ever have that incident again. But the computer actually still worked. They got me a temporary keyboard for the meantime until they could switch it out. And the computer worked. It was just my keyboard. A few a few of the buttons just didn't work. So I couldn't write certain words and things like that until I had my wireless keyboard. And then I got a new one. So, I mean, it can be challenging for IT, but they can work around it. Okay, so I would prefer work from home. I've gotten tired of having to navigate through office personalities. The politics, that was one of the plus sides to working from home. Yes. Not dealing with as much politics, microaggressions, things like that. Yes. And that could apply to so many different people. You know, people say different things thinking that they're connecting. Like, for example, for me as a Black woman, hey girl, hey, and like clearly not a Black woman, but using different wording, not how you normally talk, but trying to kind of code switch in reverse, and it doesn't connect. Or someone, you know, assuming someone's gender or saying something related to that, or trying to romanticize different people in the office, like different things people do in the office. Talking about politics at work, that's a big one. That's a big one. Just little things that just don't make it as nice of a place as it could be. Hello, Pal Pal. Welcome. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Oh, I am behind on the comments I can see. Okay. Let's say, hey, Sensei, I didn't see you in here. Welcome. Sharky is saying, software is one thing, but hard work can be a problem working from home. I get that, but I'm like, most people shouldn't be just like having hardware issues at home. Like most people are getting newer computers, unless the company is just buying computers and not doing the lease programs, or they are keeping their computers longer, which I get, maybe that can happen, but in the long run, it's better to just do short-term leases on your PCs and swap them out. But yeah, I can get it. And even with some of the other tech issues, it's not as easy as just coming, seeing what's going on. Okay, boom. Right. So I totally understand where you're coming from. Let me see. Edward, were you doing that face because I spilled water on my PC? I did not mean to. I had water. I jerked to do something, and then the water. And it wasn't a ton of water. It was just a little bit in there, but it was enough to do a little bit of damage. Again, I appreciate my tech support folks. Like, good tech support makes everything a lot easier at work. Jess, I've destroyed multiple work keyboards over the years with water, coffee, tea, soda. Oh, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Thank you. Thank you for that. I need to buy one of those in case of, yes. Like this thing, like everything. Like I don't have to clean it as much. I do have to clean this, but I don't have to clean like my computer. You know how you get the Q-tip and you have to get in there to try to clean, if you like, just to get dust and things. Yeah, that is like very much needed. Okay, let me see what else is in here. But yeah, overall, I mean, I think remote work is good, but the loneliness thing is the issue. That is a problem. Let me mute this. Sorry, guys. I had to jump back in here. Hopefully the audio is okay. Sensei says companies don't like home work. You can actually complete work and do personal things. You're not playing the let's pretend to have work game. True. There's so many places where you have to be on site. I remember I was looking for finance, like a finance manager or director, and the person that ended up getting hired, they worked at, maybe it was Deloitte or one of the big accounting firms. And it was a common thing with their culture that you needed to be there for what, like 10 hours a day, every day. Like you had to be there from this time to this time. So even if you were productive and you got everything done, you still have to be there. So it does take away that, or like the unsilent, rule, the silent rule, right? Unwritten rule which is one place that I worked at early on out of college, where yes, you needed to be there. Leadership felt like you weren't really working if you weren't in the office early and leaving late. Like it was just, one of those things. And to get promoted, you need to be there early so this person can see that you're there early. For certain managers, right? And sometimes leaving work, like you couldn't be the person, you got your work done, you're really efficient, and you left at 5 o'clock every day, boom, boom, boom. No, it looked badly. So we're away from some of that too. Yes, or when the systems are glitching down. That's true. That's true, Jay Rena. I'm fine, Jessica. Thank you. What about you? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It is really hot here. Let me just put this out. Anyone in Texas, anyone in the South right now, like it is hot. It's getting really warm. And I don't even think this is the hottest. It's supposed to be like in the hundreds, like feeling like hundreds. So it is very warm where I'm at. But other than that, I'm all good. What happens when you need to swap a piece of the computer? That is when remote tech support is not going to work. Gotcha. Yes, I get that. Or else, yeah, what do you do in the meantime? The person's just not going to be working until they get that item. Priority shipping, I guess. I don't know. Like they have a day of no work or what happens. Okay, so we got to look into this. The main points of the article on the downside and how people are feeling mentally overwhelmed for those that feeling like they can't get away from work. Like they're working remotely, great, but they're still working even more, right? They're just working more than they would have when they were in office. The other folks that are feeling isolated, like they just don't feel like they're getting the connection from people. Others are just feeling lonely because all day they're working by themselves. Especially, I feel like if you're in a type of work where you don't have to meet with people often, you're not collaborating with people often, you're not doing the video chats and things. Well, if you're just like coding the majority of the time, or you're writing the majority of the time, or you're, I don't know, doing, what else would you be doing where you're just like not talking to people at all? Maybe you're writing contracts, drafting contracts and things from a legal perspective. You're just doing some different things. Like maybe you're making graphics, maybe you're a designer. That type of work where you're not meeting and talking with people throughout the day, I could totally see you just feeling lonely because after 8-9 hours of work, however long you work, you haven't talked to anyone. You've literally been sitting at a computer. Now, I feel like one thing that help with that is if you can go to a coffee shop, at least that way you're kind of around people, or if you can have your company provide a location for you, like the WeWorks or something, where you can actually get a space to work. Some of those packages may work for the company to, I don't know if the company would pay for it, but yeah, that could be another thing to do. So what they say in the article on how to manage through the mental health, one is to figure out resources from the company. Do they offer mental health resources? I used to work at a company that did Ginger. They promoted that a lot. They offered Headspace for free, and they offered counseling. So especially after different events would happen, they would offer, one-to-one counseling. It was via video, but it did help to just be able to talk to someone, talk through issues that you're having, and to get guidance about, what can you do to get better at X, Y, and Z. So the main thing they point out, though, is stick to a set work schedule. And I think this is hard for some people, but if you can just say, I'm working from this time to this time and stick to that and set up, this is me adding into it, but setting up different things on your calendar. I use my calendar a lot. So I have to put, look, I'm working, these are my work hours, right? If I'm going to lunch, setting up on my status, a lot of us use video chat and things like that. Setting up my status, I'm at lunch, so people can know, because otherwise people may just message you. They don't know. They just assume you're at your desk, so you're assuming that they're at their computer, right? So let people know, like, hey, I'm going to be offline for whatever. People will know. Just tell them, whatever. Okay. But you're sticking to a set work schedule. That way you're not hopefully not goofing off, because you have your time to goof off afterwards. Also, build in breaks into your schedule. If you feel like you need a social media break, build it into your schedule, right? You have your work from this time, 10-minute break, 15-minute break, lunch break in the afternoon, and whatever you need to do just to set that time. I'm adding this in here, but set time to take walks. They say move. right? Move around, because if you think about it, and let me know if you relate to this, working from home, it's really easy to just sit all day, like just sitting. And I know this because I've noticed that happening, and I had to set up something for myself. Oh, thank you, Life of GCV Gwen. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. And again, please do check out Gwen's channel. She is really providing a lot of information on what's happening to women and girls and their safety. So please do watch her channel, subscribe to her, check her out. Like, she just provides a lot of information that's really helpful, especially if you want to support women and girls. Okay. And our safety, right? Okay. That took me on a side note. But anyway, build onto your schedule, because you'll be sitting all day. Let me know if you were late. You're sitting and you're sitting and you're sitting. And then you realize, oh my gosh, I've been sitting all day. So if you build into your schedule, you're going to take a walk. You're going to walk in the morning before you even get started. Or you're going to do some type of activity or exercise before you get started, because we're not even, when you're working from home, you don't even walk to your car, walk to the office, go up the stairs, go to the, you're not doing a lot of that stuff that you normally do. Walk to this conference room, walk to that conference room. You're just not doing a lot of those. You're not taking all those steps that you would have, because you're just in your home. So you're likely not having to do any of that. So build that into it. The driver sensei says, I literally left America to come to Canada until next Wednesday. I'm not staying in that heat wave. Did you really? Oh my gosh, that's funny. I mean, hey, I do not blame you. I don't blame you at all for that. It is really hot. And it's like, it makes it hard for you to enjoy outside, because I was out earlier. It wasn't too bad. But yes, right around this time, it's very warm. Starkey says, smart move. Thank you again, Gwen. I appreciate the super chat. I appreciate all my super chatters like that. I mean, I just appreciate the support of the channel. And Gwen is always supporting as a member. I appreciate it, along with Edward and some others that I don't see here yet. OMG is hot here. Very smart. People are talking about it so hot. It really is. Oh my goodness. Mike J is another member. Thank you for supporting the channel. Welcome. Happy to see you here as well. Okay, yes, it's so important to get up and stretch, or even take a short walk. Sitting at a desk all day is no bueno. Yeah, and you can try yoga. Try yoga. There's like 5-minute, 10-minute yoga. You can just stretch, and that will help you as well. Because a part of the work remote thing is that you're at a computer. We're not made to be sitting all day long. We're human. We're not meant to do that, but we are doing it. So we have to try to work with what we've got and build in breaks where we can move. So they say move, don't just sit all day. Get some sunlight. Yes, get some sunlight. Get outside and get the sunlight. Don't just like rely on the window. Like, as you can see, there's sun peeping through the window right now. But get out there. Get some vitamin D. All right. Walking, I talked about already. And then asking for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Get some support, however that means for you. Talk to people. And actively, I'm adding this in here, but actively find ways that you can socialize with people. If you know you're an introvert, working from home, you're comfortable, all that, do something. If you like certain activities, find a group near you that you can join. Get on meetup.com. That's an easy way to connect with some people. They have different age groups in there. If you only want to talk to people over 40, you can talk to them. If you only want to talk to people from 20 to 30, you can talk to those people. Whatever. They have a lot of different meetup groups that happen, and that will get you out and hopefully to meet some people and to, socialize. And you can do different events nearby too, just different networking events, whatever you have to do to get outside more often. Schedule them after work, whatever you got to do just so you can socialize, because that's where the loneliness is coming from the article. People are feeling more isolated. They're blurring the lines from work and home, and they're feeling really fatigued by the digital space. So you can get some human face-to-face contact. Another thing I wanted to bring up is the fact that so many people have moved. So they've either moved from their home where their friends and family are, so now they're in a new location and they're working from home. And so now they have to make friends. So of course they're going to be lonely until they can get some friends, right? And they miss their family and things like that. So working from home, like if you think about the full spectrum of it, yes, it can be great, but there's also some things to consider. You have to consider what type of personality you have, what you actually value in work. If you value making connections with people while you're at work, well, working from home may not be for you. If you like being away from all the people, you like that, but you still want to make some social connections, you can just find some activities near you that you can partake in. Okay, that's all I wanted to talk about for this video. Let me just look at these last comments. Home office CA, best occupation ever. Oh, really? Okay, Mike. So Mike is giving us some insight. Mike says, a friend of mine told me long ago, working in your own terms by far freedom. I love that. I love that. That is freedom. Okay. Well, Mike, with that, I think you've closed out the chat. Thank you all for being so supportive today. I appreciate it. I thank you all for being here, chatting with me. Listen, the main things I want to just take away from this is if you are working from home, take into consideration how you're feeling. Like, are you doing okay? Are you feeling lonely? Are you feeling burnt out at all? Are you feeling like you have no separation from work and your personal life? Are you, having certain thoughts? Because there's a lot of instances that are happening that I don't like. Of course, we don't like to see them where people are choosing to end their life. And I think that's a terrible thing to see. But if working from home is playing a part in some of that, we have to acknowledge it and we have to help each other. So even if you don't work from home yourself, people that work from home, check in on them, see how they're doing, schedule some time to meet up with them face to face if you can get them, out, and just check in on them that way, because we're seeing more and more of the reports aligning working from home to people's mental health. And, it's definitely something that's very important. Also, take note if your company has any resources in terms of mental health. And then also just making sure that you're checking in with yourself every day, see how you're feeling, right? Because if we don't know how we're feeling, there's nothing we can really do about it. We won't even recognize it until something happens, right? So we have to check in with ourselves. All right. Jay Renna says, I feel good in my James Brown voice. That is so funny. Okay, Jay Renna. So Jay Renna, okay, you are all for working from home. You're living your best life. Best life working from home. I love it. I love it. So just check in with your other people, though. Not everyone's feeling that way. I can say for myself, right? I feel pretty good about working from home. There are some times where I do want to be around people and I want to see people face to face, but the majority of my work is going to be on the phone and on the computer anyway. So a lot of my time I'm going to be talking to people via the phone and on the computer. So even when I was in the office, it's, hey, see ya, what you doing? Unless we have some type of event on the campus or something. I see you in passing, hey, or unless I make time to have a conversation with you, we're really not having an in-depth conversation necessarily. So, you take it as as they come. So anyway, Sharky says, Jay Renner, you knew that. I can't with you all singing this song in the chat. Okay, with that, I'm going to end the video. Thank you again to my supporters, Sabuana in Florida. Thank you, Life of GCV Gwen. And thank you for those super chats. Thank you, Edward, for being my moderator and a member of the channel. And thank you, Mike, for being a member of the channel. You all have been super, super loyal. I appreciate it. King of Kill just slid in here last minute. Look at you. Look at you. We had a pretty cool conversation, King of Kill. Thank you. I'm going to tell you thank you for being a member, all of you long-standing members. I appreciate it. When I worked from home, I had to get out of the house immediately after work, even if it was for a walk. Oh my gosh, I'm the same way. I build walks throughout my day like I have to, and then different events are happening. So you guys know I'm an ambivert. So I can be introverted sometimes and I can be a little more extroverted sometimes. So I need time to like see people. I got to see some people. And I also have times where I'm chilling. I'm like, hey, I like this. I want to be by myself. I'm liking this, my me time and all that. So yes, I totally get where you're coming from, King Phil. I'm just mad at how you just slid in here. I'm like, yes, I'm about to go, you guys. See y'all later and all that. And then Key just slid on in here. But I feel you. I appreciate you. King of Kill, like Edward, like a lot of you all have been, you guys are in here. So I appreciate it. Jay Renna came through with some great tips. So I appreciate you all. I'm going to peace out because I got something to do. But I will see you all in my next live. I'll come up with something to talk about next Saturday. Bye, lovely people.